first clash, Skolas changed his strategy. Book 8, Chapter 3. With Skolas and Parixas still fighting, no one expected either to attack the reef. So by the time Paladin Abraziah arrived at Amethyst, it was too late. The Silent Fang, led by Dravis herself, had massacred almost everyone in the station, including Coven leader Pioneer Venge. Paladin Zyre gave chase and followed the Fang to Iris, where, behind the glare of Iris's brightness, a wolf ketch lay in wait. But the ketch was no match for Zyre's smaller, faster ships or her ferocity. When the Battle of Iris was over, however, it was not Dravis at Zyre's feet. It was Parixas. Greyer, another of Skolas' loyal vassals, had attacked Parixas' ketch at the same time that Dravis had attacked Amethyst. He too had lured Parixas to Iris. Then the Silent Fang had used Iris's unusual brightness to disappear, just as Zyre and Parixas arrived in the system. Book 8, Chapter 4. After a string of defeats at Amethyst, at Hygeia, arguably at Iris, Prince Aldrin's crows finally made headway against the wolves' encryptions. They quickly discovered a seemingly unimportant piece of information. The House of Wolves had incorrectly calculated the eccentricity of their asteroid, Bamberger. So, Paladin Imogen Rife chased Dravis, Wolf Baroness, directly into Bamberger's trajectory. Dravis's cage was destroyed, and both she and her High Servitor Calix 4 were captured. It was the first decisive Reef victory since the Scatter, but on her way back to Vesta with her captains, Paladin Rife was attacked at Palace. Welcome in, final. How's it going? And you got five gold from the champ game. Good job. We're currently doing some reading of the Lore of Destiny, which is the second book on the Elixni primarily. So we read a bit about the Iron Lords, a bit about the Elixni, and now it's all about basically the Reef Wars between the Awoken and the Elixni. But how are you doing? The Hearth vibe? Yeah. Yeah, just basically put a GIF as my background on Discord and using that. But yeah, that's basically what I did last time I did the lore read. So I figured, why not do it again, you know? But yeah, how was your stream? I hope it went well. What were you doing? Give you a quick shout out. Space Marine 2. I need to get back to that. I played a bunch of it, but didn't finish it yet. I'm really fucking enjoying it though. But we have Book 8, Chapter 5. Under Skolas' vassal Persis, called Pallas Bane, the wolves amassed the largest wolf fleet that had ever been seen since the Scatter. The queen could not use her harbingers against them. If she did, Imogen Rife and her fleet and all the people of Pallas would have been killed as well. For years the siege endured. At first, neither side dared to attack the other. On Pallas, Paladin Rife knew that Persis had the firepower to destroy the asteroid. Above Pallas, Persis held back, hoping to rescue Dravis and Calix 4 and the other wolves that Paladin Rife had captured at the Blade of Bamberger's Wrath. Battle of Bamberger's Wrath. The Queen sought to defuse the siege by sending Armada Paladins Abraziah and Kamala Rear to the Hildian asteroids, where Skolas was rumored to be hiding. but with the help of his tactician Bellatrix the Veiled, Skolas thwarted them. The stalemate of the palace was broken by, of all beings, a dreg, ironically dubbed Wexis the Meek. The drag led dozens of followers in an unsanctioned attack on Palace. They managed to blast a hole in the Athens Hall, but were stopped soon after by Commander Hallam Fen. Wexis and the surviving followers were imprisoned alongside those they had come to save. I appreciate the lurk. Book 8, Chapter 6. Wexis' attack may have been unsuccessful, but it inspired another, deadlier assault. This time, Persis the Bane of Pallas herself led another strike, blasting through the same Athens Hall breach that Wexis had weakened in his assault. Persis' strike team managed to free Calix 4, but Paladin Imogen Rife cut them off outside Dravis' cell. Persis might have escaped, but she refused to retreat without Dravis. Paladin Rife destroyed Calix 4 to prevent the walls from recovering it, and eventually the walls were forced back, but not before Persis slew Paladin Rife with her own blade. Finally, Commander Hallam Fen, Imogen Rife's protege, was able to establish a line of communication with the rest of the reef. Working with the Techians and the Crows, they created an enormous visual illusion of the Harbingers, making it seem as if the Queen had finally decided to cut her losses and destroy the asteroid. It worked. The false Harbingers so scared the Wolf Fleet that they broke ranks. Then the combined forces of Commander Fen, Paladin Leona Brill, and Paladin Kamala Rio slammed, capturing Persis, Pallas Bane, and driving the rest of the wolves off. Hallam Fen brought Dravis to Vesta, years after Imogen Rife had set out to do so. As a reward for his service, the Queen bequeathed him Rife's place among the 7 paladins. Book 8, Chapter 7. Finally, Bellatrix the Veiled left the Hildians and massed his fleet at Fortuna to replenish his Ketch's ether from the organic compound found on the asteroid's surface. His ships landed on Fortuna one at a time, the rest forming a defensive screen around its surface. He believed that Paladin Zaya would attack the screen and destroy her fleet against the shield wall. But Abra Zaya's fury over the Battle of False Tidings had chilled over the years into an icy, clever resolve. She separated her forces in two and engaged Bellatrix's Veil with what he thought was her entire host. But in secret, Abra deployed her second fleet with a weapon the Reef had been working on since Bamberger. Charybdis, a gravity weapon strong enough to knock asteroids off course. Charybdis caught asteroid Tinet in its beam and flung it into Fortuna, destroying both and severely damaging Bellatrix's fleet. Bellatrix was easily captured in the ensuing chaos and brought swiftly to the Queen. The fight became known as the Fortuna Plummet, as are, on occasion, the remains of Fortuna and Tinet as well. After the Fortuna Plummet, one of Prince Aldrin's crows returned with a message from a fallen by the name of Varix of the House of Judgment. Good timing with the music. Book 8, Chapter 8. In desperation, Skolas personally led an all-out assault on the military fortress of Cybele. Little did he know that the Queen knew of his plans, thanks to the word of Varix of the House of Judgment. No sooner had Skolas' catches arrived on the asteroid than all 4 Armada Paladins, Abrazaya, Kamala Rayo, Leona Brill, and Hallam Fen, caught him in a pincer movement. Calix 12, the High Servitor of Skrevix, the Sharp-Eyed, tried to escape, but Abrazaya chased it down. Skolas' Cybele uprising had failed. He, Skrevix, Calix 12 and the rest of his leaders were cast into the Queen's prison. The Wraith Wars were effectively over. Book 8, Chapter 9. Varix of the House of Judgment declared Queen Marasov the new Kell of Wolves, and advised those captured at Cybele to serve her. The first among these to pledge their loyalty to the Queen was one called Savix, who was given the honor of serving the Queen's throne room, to the right of the Queen herself. Book 8, Chapter 10, which will be the last one before we move on to another part. Though many wolves knelt to the Queen, some refused to admit the war was over. A group of wolves rallied under the banner of a new would-be Kell, Velinix, called the Ravenous. But before Velinix could strike at the Wraith struck at him. Lieutenant Petra Venge, a corsair who had served under Paladin Abraziah during the Hildian campaign, hunted down and captured Velinix. Next, we have messages from the Fortuna Plummet. So, message is, Beltrick the Veiled, also known as HVTR3, and loyal spaceborne elements have been localized to 19 Fortuna. Beltrick is its chief war strategist. Corsair Recon confirms that HVTR3 ships are resupplying ether and performing high-tempo logistical operations. Recon elements are collabant. Not sure what that is. Sources agree that Beltrick will roll one ship at a time into the resupply pocket while holding all other assets to screen. TF-41 will attack. Targets are HVTR3 spaceborne assets. Objective is annihilation of spaceborne assets and capture/nullification of HVTR3. Designate targets Veil Hand. Due to history of violence between Paladin Command TF-41 and HVTR3, particularly Battle of False Tidings / Hildian campaign, Beltrick expects TF-41 to engage his screen directly. We will exploit this expectation. Fragment orders follow. Petra Venge will detach select warships and air wing elements to form TF-42 Mass Lance. TF-42 is directed to engage Veil Hand, screen elements with skirmishers. TF-42 will deny main battle while pinning down Veil Hand forces at 19 Fortuna. TF-42 will receive missile and torpedo assets to force Veil Hand into maintaining tight mutual CIWS/ESM support. Not sure what all that means, but I think that's a lot of technical jargon of the Awoken. So, doesn't make sense to you guys? That's okay, doesn't make sense to me either. Decisive engagement with Veil Hand in 4-2 Mass Lance AO is forbidden until Go Contingency satisfied. Prioritize Force Con. Remaining TF-41 will maneuver immediately to rendezvous with 687 TNET. TNET is on close approach with 19 Fortuna. TF-41 frigates and fighters will perform recon denial against Veil Hand Scout. Upon rendezvous with 687 TNET, TF-41 will deploy Charybdis. TF-41 will maneuver in TNET's shadow as it retrajectorizes for intercept. Go Contingency. Upon collision of 687 TNET and 19 Fortuna, TF-41 and TF-42 will immediately close for decisive engagement. Veil Hand C-41 will be critically degraded and all targets will be maneuvering away from mutual support. Skirmishers and air wing will provide tar cap and destroy Veil Hand. Light warships as they attempt to reform. E-war assets will isolate hostile heavy warships from C-41 and spoof bad data links. Main combatants will cripple Veilhand Navy heavy warships and board where opportune. No Harbinger support is available. Good luck. The Wraith and the Queen are watching. Message ends. There's a lot of technical jargon that I didn't understand most of it. But now we move on to Varix the Loyal. They call me betrayer. They do not think I hear the words bug, insect, fallen. I hear. House of Judgment always hears. No choice. Has to keep houses together. Had to. First the great machine, then sky fell away. Whirlwind ripped away the past. All honor lost, all hope. Judgment not enough. Cannot keep wolves from kings, scar from winter. Fell to fighting, fell to hate. Judgment gone, others slaughtered, slain. Death and docking. Keep Elixni together, lost to pride and rage. Travelled with the many houses before walls. We move across the dark, follow the light, advise Kells, worshipped primes. House Judgment must survive, yes. Found the light, too bright in darkness to hide. House Winter attack, House Devils plot, House King planned, House Walls circle, House Judgment wait. Now at war, fight for system, control the belt. Wolves Kell dead, dying. Skolas wins control of House Wolves. Attack, attack, attack. Place of learning, place of healing put to the burn. Then siege of palace, year of cruelty. Held the line to rescue butchers, murderers, servitors. Ends with wolf fleet scattered. New tactics, detonations, blasts in civilian areas. Take the fight to them, he said. Cannot abide the hate. Uprising, they called it. Uprising on Cybele. Reach out to crows, to Queen. Cybele attack stopped. Skolas captured. Handed House of Wolves with words. Paladins find me hiding, cowering. Nowhere else to go, no one else to be. I become Varix the Loyal, House Judgment envoy to Queen of Awoken. No choice. House Judgment must survive, yes. Ooh. And now we get chapter 5, the Battle of Twilight Gap. Drink before I read into that, because that's going to be something. So we do have messages that apparently go through the comms, and then we have descriptions of what happens. Fireteam leaders, do not advance on the wall. Fall back to the Ridgeback district. Shax freezes with a Vandal's windpipe in his fist. He waits for Saladin to justify the strategy. I repeat, all teams rally at the Ridgeback district. Do not advance. The city is lost. Shax drops the Vandal and then empties the rest of his clip into a captain. He and his fire team are running on fumes. The dead, fallen and guardian alike, litter the Twilight Gap. Shax, do you copy? He risks a look over his shoulder at their home. The place they call the last safe city. Not burning. Not yet. Gritting his teeth, he reloads. Shax, your orders are to retreat. He sees a gap in the onslaught of invaders and gestures to the other. Nkechi, take Abdi and Truce. Liu Feng, with me. Bray, cover us. This battle is not your stage, Shax. This is not about glory. His fighting does not hesitate. Shaxx, for the final time, fall back. As the 6 of them crest the wall, Shaxx cuts the feed. Fucking crazy bastard. Twilight Gap. Named for the city's greatest battle, this defensive battery once held the front line against the combined might of the fallen houses. Overrun during the course of the invasion, many Guardians lost their lives to hold the line. That the Crucible now claims this hallowed ground is seen as a privilege, a rite of passage, as new generations stand and fight where the brave fell. Heroes rose and legends were born. Oh, we get little descriptions about some of the characters that were involved, such as Lord Saladin, right here. Hello, thank you. There's Lord Saladin, right there, and I hate the fact that the fucking quote-unquote green screen keeps fucking covering, but best I can show you, Lord Shaxx, Lord Saladin. A hero to the city, and a legend in his own right, Saladin Forge led the city's defense during the battle for the Twilight Gap. His protégés, Commander Zavala and Lord Shaxx, now lead the tower's vanguard and the Crucible respectively. Saladin remains close to Zavala, though his relationship with Shaxx has been strained since the Twilight Gap. The Iron Banner seeks great champions to lead the fight against the darkness. It was born to honor the Iron Lords and their efforts in the earliest days of the city. And so we have Lord Shaxx, always so quiet, you know, so calm, so demure. So not. Lord Shaxx is one of the heroes of the Battle of Twilight Gap, having led the counterattack that pushed the Fallen from the city walls, fearing that another full-scale assault would be more than the city could repel. Shaxx chose to stay in the city to mentor Guardians in the Crucible. One day, Shaxx vows to return to the war beyond the city, but only after he is confident the fires of the Crucible have forged a new generation of warriors. Then we have the prettiest, the Yellowhorn, which is on my shelf up there. You can't really see it anymore because it doesn't really hold that well when I have it standing up there, but it is what it is. The Yellowhorn shoulder-mounted rocket system was forged from the armor of Guardians who fell at the Twilight Gap. Gifted to the survivors of that terrible battle, the Yellowhorn is seen as a symbol of honor and survival. Sure is. And now, we have Saint 14 at Twilight's End. He could feel his light draining. He pulled all of it into one last hope. He reeled back, and bam! His helm found purchase, breaking through just above the kill's eyes. The ether screamed from his head, and together they fell to the ground. The Exo-Guardian rose, now was staggering back. He couldn't take his eyes off the kill's body. He'd never seen any Fallen withstand a skull puncture, but this was no ordinary Fallen. He waited and waited. Ghost? The words barely audible. He heard her flash in, but had a hard time pinning her down. She was buzzing about, surveying the fallen Kel. He's dead, all right. So that's it? We're done now? He removed his helm, tossed it aside, and dropped to his knees. The devils without a Kel. This war was over at last. They could finally go home. We are. Get me the speaker. Opening his channel. Stand by. Is that you, my son? The speaker's voice was filled more with anticipation of news than concerned. It is, father. The devil Kel Soulkiss is dead. This war is over. Such courage and power, the greatest ever to brace these worlds. You bring all of us peace. We will light the final flare, devil red. They will all know what you've done. Father, I don't think I have the energy to return. I'll rest here and come back to be honored when I return. Of course, son, but there is something concerning. More fallen march in the city? No, not this time. I have word that Osiris was seen on Mercury, the Caloris basin. He's turned his mind back to the Vex. Mercury? Too many channels to know. You activate one, you start to feel its veins. He threatens our peace. Your duty, my son. You must never forget. I cannot. The ghost killed the feed and waited for its guardian's words. Ghost, prepare my Vex arsenal and plot a course for Mercury. That old man is about to wake up hell. He sure fucking is. Typical Osiris. Now we have a discussion in a city age. I'm not sure who all is here, but there's a few people apparently. And so it is agreed. The Concordat shall no longer be recognized among the consensus. We'll begin dismantling right away. But what of those guardians who have pledged to them? We can't afford any more banishments. I'm sure Zavala can see to the reassignment. We'll do our best. Lysander chose his followers wisely. It may take some time. Lysander will not back down. He'll continue his crusade from wherever we stuff him. And so we'll need to find some new ideas to replace him. The symmetry has been gaining a strong following. Ulantan's teachings are too dangerous. Too much fear. Who knew he'd be more trouble dead than alive? We'll need to refocus our collective minds on combat. The speaker's anxious to regain ground we lost after the gap. There is the war cult. Too secretive. Have you ever tried to talk to one of their soldiers? Like a child. Answering questions with questions. They are dedicated to the war. Which one? Good question. Zavala. They seem focused. Strong. More interesting than worrisome. Let's take it to a vote. All in favor of the ascension of the future war cult. Unanimous? Good. We'll grant the future war cult access to the tower and a seat among us. Ghost, please offer the speaker this proposal. Now, on to the next order of business. Shax is here with another proposal for his Crucible. Typical Shax. And now we get to part 3, Evolution. Chapter 6, called Martyrdom. We start with the prison of elders at the reef.